Hello and welcome to Sportsweekly, your one-stop shop for all things sport. My name is Emmanuel Odufejo, and today I have a striking partner with me on the show. Welcome, Olufemi Odeyemi. How are you doing, Femi?
Thank you, Emmanuel, and I'm very happy for you having me on the show today. Let's talk all things sports.
Thank you for gracing this wonderful show. Welcome on board. It's been a roller coaster, action-packed week, I must confess, in the world of sports, and so plenty of talking points today, from tennis to boxing, athletics, and our very own beautiful game of football. Thank you for joining us. Fasten your seatbelts, turn up the volume. This is Sports Weekly, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'd love for you to be a part of the show. It's not just about me or Femi here. This is a show that we want everyone, to be a part of. So go ahead, log on Facebook and join us, join the conversation. Find us on ASEN TV, ASENN TV. Follow us on Twitter, ASENN TV. And also check out our videos on YouTube, ASEN TV. Follow us on ASEN TV, and we would like to hear from you. So Femi, let's kickstart this program. Let's start from the world of boxing, where we are hearing that there's going to be a rematch. One of the biggest matches, that has happened this year, and then we haven't even finished celebrating that. Now we are hearing of talks about a rematch. What's happening, Femi?
Well, I think Vladimir Klitschko does not want to go out without a fight, so to speak, because it's a fight already, and we see that it took a lot out of Anthony Joshua to defeat him the first time. Yeah. It was not easy.
Because at some point, it looked like Klitschko was going to take the day.
Yes,
I think at around the 6th round or something.
Yes, I was very scared for Anthony Joshua around the 6th, 7th round, because he wasn't moving anymore. He was not putting his hands up to block the shot. It seems like he has already outboxed himself in the first 5 rounds, because we know before that match he had not gone past the 4th round. He knocks his opponents out in the 4th round. But now I think he must take a valuable lesson from that victory. He now knows how to go the distance.
Yeah.
He knows that it's not everyone that you knock out in the 4th round.
Exactly.
You need to be prepared to go the long haul sometimes. And that must be the thing that Anthony Joshua must have learned from that bout with Vladimir Klitschko. And now I know that if he comes back again, he won't be the same Anthony Joshua that Vladimir Klitschko met in the first fight. He's younger, he's hungrier, he's stronger than Vladimir Klitschko, and I think he's going to beat him again. That is my prediction.
Well, he must beat him again, and we here in Nigeria, we're happy for him, and we really hope that he does his thing again. He has already told us that his secret is, did he say, was it Amala or was it Eba? Fantastic. So the IAAF, the International Boxing Federation, have already agreed that this bout, if it will happen, must take place before December 2nd, 2017. And you need to know that the winner of this bout will go on to face Kubrat Pulev in a title defense. So we just hope Anthony Joshua does us proud yet again, and he puts another Nigerian flag, in that ring. Whenever.
I really believe in him. He's up there with the greatest fighters right now in the world of boxing.
Exactly.
And I'm sure if Vladimir comes again, I think he gets knocked out again.
So Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua is waiting for you. Bring it on. All right, moving on. Let's talk tennis. You know that the Roland Garros is going on, the French Open. The quarterfinals have happened. We are now going into semi-finals. I understand that some of the matches are probably even going on right now. They're starting for the semi-finals. They're starting today. So what's been happening in the world of tennis?
Well, we'll bring the African angle to it. This is African sports and entertainment show. So we know that we are 2 Africans. Very good for Africa, because 2 Africans are actually in the Roland Garros. We have one in the ATP for the men and one in the WTA for the females. We have Kevin Anderson from South Africa playing in the ATP, and we have the lady from Tunisia. Her name is Jeba Ons, playing in the WTA. She actually did well, got all the way to the third round before being knocked out by Timia Basinski. And she even had a big victory in the second round, beating world number 7, Shibokova.
Wow.
That was very brilliant for her. And also Kevin Anderson, it's very sad that he had to retire. He actually got injured in his match against Marian Cilic. And that has been the end of Africa in the Roland Garros.
Fantastic. But it looks like the big boys are still in the game, right? Although we've had 1 or 2 upsets.
Of course, of course. In the WTA, we've had a lot of upsets, actually.
Wow.
Because in the very first round in the WTA, the world number 1, Angelique Kerber, actually got knocked out.
Has that happened before? I'm not sure.
Well, it has happened before.
Wow.
She got knocked out. She lost her match. And now we are on we had the quarterfinals match some time ago. We had Ostapenko beating Caroline Wozniacki in 3 straight sets. She beat her 4-6, 6-2, 6-2. And also we have Marina Mladenovic. She actually lost to Timia Banzinski 4-6, 4-6. In 2 straight sets, it was over. We have Elena Svitolina. She actually lost to Simona Halep. She lost 6-3, 6-7, lost 6. And also we have Caroline Garcia Lopez, who lost to Caroline Pliskova, 6-7, 4-6. And now the semi-final pairings are out. It's actually going to be Ostapenko going to face Timia Basinski, and also Simona Halep will be facing Caroline Pliskova.
And there's this news making the round that we might have a new world number 1.
Yes.
How's that going to happen?
Yes, if Pliskova goes on to win this this event, which is the Roland Garros, she becomes the world number 1, taking it away from Angelique Kerber. Also, in the men's draw, the world number 1, Novak Djokovic, is out. Novak Djokovic actually got beaten.
That's probably the biggest upset now,
It's the biggest upset because it's actually been something that has been ongoing for a long time. Djokovic has not been up there. He's not been at the top of his game for some time now. So getting knocked out of the quarterfinals, I don't think it's really something that will be very surprising to everybody because he's not been up there. The way he's playing his tennis has not been there again. He actually lost in 3 straight sets to Dominic Thiem. He lost 7-6, 6-3, and 6-love.
So there was really no fighting in him.
There was no fight in him. Well, the king of clay is also there. He's still there doing his thing. He's been beating people left, right, and center. That is Rafael Nadal. And he defeated Carreño Busta again in the quarterfinals. Actually, Carreño Busta had to retire because he got injured. And also, Stanislas Wawrinka is there. He defeated Marian Cilic in the quarterfinals. He defeated him 6-3, 6-3, 6-1, 3 straight sets. And also, Andy Murray, even though he stuttered a little bit in the first set against Kei Nishikori, he came back in the second, third, and fourth set to defeat him 2-6, 6-1, 7-6, 6-1 in 4 sets. And that means Dominic Thiem, Rafael Nadal, Stanislas Wawrinka, and Andy Murray are through to the semi-final. And that's for beating the world number 1, Novak Djokovic. Dominic Thiem has been rewarded with a trip to the king of clays arena. And that means he's going to be facing Rafael Nadal in the semi-final. And also, Andy Murray, the Englishman, will be facing Stanislas Wawrinka in the semi-final too.
Fantastic in the world of tennis. I think that a lot is going on down there, and we can only hope that someday we begin to hear of Nigerians or Africans, actually doing great in the world of tennis. It hasn't been coming. We've not heard of any Nigerian or African, doing anything in the world of tennis.
Well, we have a couple of Africans doing it. Most of them are South Africans, and there are others from the northern parts of Africa doing they're like trying to make a little name for themselves. But Nigeria has not really been up there when it comes to tennis. And that makes you to wonder what the Nigerian Tennis Federation has been doing all this while. We have a lot of tennis competitions going on. Why haven't we been seeing these things develop or translate into the international stage? Why haven't our players gone out there and done us proud? Why haven't the Nigerian flag been flown out there? We need answers to those questions.
All right, moving on. I mean, just talking about this, it leads us to the next sport. Talking about the sport of darts. It's the same thing. that were talked about for tennis and how Africa, or Nigeria in particular, haven't been doing so well. So there was the Betway World Cup of darts that just happened in Germany, and we have Netherlands, taking that, winning the Betway World Cup of darts for a third time, beating Wales, 3-1 just last Sunday. You need to know Michael van Gerwen was on the Dutch contingent that won that. He retained his Premier League crown just in some weeks ago. He retained his Premier League crown. So fantastic for them. The Netherlands have won the Betway World Cup of darts. But the question, just like we asked in tennis, is why is Nigeria or Africa not being represented in the World Cup of darts?
Well, if you ask me, you say darts. If you ask the average Nigerian out there and tell him, oh, do you know about darts? What's he going to say? What the hell what is that?
Well, we know what, right?
We know what. We know
what the card game, but we don't know that.
So I think the exposure for that has not been there. People do not know what this sport is about. Actually, it's a very nice sport. They don't know about it.
What if I tell you that just in the last couple of days, there was an election into the Federation of Darts at Abuja?
What was the previous administration doing? That is the question I will ask. Why haven't we known about this sport a long time before this? So there is actually a federation for it.
Yeah. Well, and they are actually state chapters.
Oh, that is fantastic.
So you never played darts in either primary school or secondary school?
No, I didn't.
You see, so we have a long way to go. I mean, I think the question here really, or the point here really, is that we are a country that has a monopoly of football as our sport. Maybe a sprinkle there, here and there for things like athletics, basketball, but the real thing is there are a lot of other sports that are happening there, and we need to take this thing serious, don't you think so?
I think
tennis,
I think we need to have a sports federation and not just a football federation. We need to start taking other sports into cognizance. We need to start putting other sports on the forefront, putting them on the pedestal, because a lot of times now football has not been where we are supposed to be. But now we have these other sports which, as the giants of Africa, we say we are, we need to be up there. We actually heard that in the World Cup that you talked about, only South Africa was able to represent Africa out there. So why is Nigeria not there? So we need to answer these questions, and the federations or the new board that is coming in need to start doing something positive to put that sport out there and put Nigeria out there in the next, maybe the next World Cup which is coming, or the next international tournament that we're going to have. Let Nigeria be out there.
True, Femi. I mean, you've just hit the nail on the head, and we've always said it on this show that sometimes we need to really find a way of bringing some of these heads of federations, to this table and have them discuss this thing. Tell us why we are not really coming down to the grassroots, because it doesn't look like so many good stories coming out of the world of sports as related to Nigeria. Moving on to tennis, you know about the ITTF, it's going on, and right now that's also happening in Düsseldorf in Germany. And Nigerian players are just exiting one by one.
It's not just Nigerian players, even African players. Well, I'll start from the Nigerian angle actually. Yeah. Nigeria went with a contingent of 7 athletes to the event. We have 4 male athletes and 3 female athletes.
I can guess the usual corporates. Aruna Kodri,
yes.
Oshonaike, right?
Yes, you're true. Shegun Toriola again. The man has been there forever. So I think there was Ojo Onolapo too, and there's this new kid on the block from Italy, actually based in Italy. His name is Olajide Omotayo. He's a new player that plays for Nigeria, and he was there, but it wasn't to be for Nigeria. Even Aruna Kodri, maybe the highest ranked player from Africa out there in that tournament, he could not make it past the first round. Even Ojo Onolapo could not get into the main draw. He got knocked out in the qualifiers. That goes for the other players as well. Also, Shanaike got into the first round. She got knocked out. Also, Edemefion and Cecilia Akpan too were in that, were the remaining part of the team. They all got dumped out. So we think Nigeria needs to do more when it comes to tennis. And how can they do that? They need to take the sport back to the grassroots. There was a time in Nigeria when every corner of the street you'll see a table tennis table there. You play table tennis everywhere you are. But now the culture seems to have died down. That is why we still have Segun Toriola at his age still representing Nigeria. Even Funke Oshonaike at her age still representing Nigeria. These players are not supposed to still be representing Nigeria at this age that they are. New players are supposed to spring up, and Nigeria needs to create the talent again to bring these new players up to start doing something. Maybe we'll be able to compete with the Asians, because it's actually the Asians that are dominating table tennis right now.
Wow. Fantastic. So, I mean, I think we've agreed on a central theme, you know, for our discussion today. I think it's really centered around how Nigeria or Africa is not represented well, you know, when it comes to sports at the world level. And so we really need to come back to this same drawing board that we keep coming back to and see how we can bring sports, you know, to a grassroots level and actually develop it from the grassroots, you know, from the primary schools to secondary schools, you know, create awareness and do a lot that can get us bringing up new talents. Moving on to NBA, to the basketball, we know that the NBA finals is going on. You know, what's the general vibe coming from the NBA?
Well, the NBA finals is hotting up right now, and right now we know the NBA finals is actually between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. And I'll tell you
Would
this.
you say it's between LeBron James and maybe Steph Curry?
Well, it's not really between LeBron James and Steph Curry. But I'll tell you this for free. The Golden State Warriors have a 3-0 lead in the NBA Conference Finals. And it seems the championship is all but theirs. Because the last match, which is actually the game 3, the Cavaliers actually collapsed in the last 3 minutes of the game. They were actually leading by 113 points to 107 points, getting to that last 3 minutes. But right there in that last 3 minutes, the Golden State Warriors went on an 11 points without reply. They made 11 points without reply.
And that's a loss of concentration?
Well, I think they actually played a very bad game in defense in that final 3 minutes. Kevin Love, which is actually supposed to defend for them, was not doing the job well. Even LeBron James was nowhere to be found, and even Kyrie Irving were not doing it. And the Golden State Warriors were led by one man, that man called Kevin Durant. He played a fantastic game in this game, scoring 31 points, which is actually the game high in this third game. And I actually saw the reason why the Golden State Warriors had to splash out the money to bring him in, because we should not forget that the Cavaliers actually defeated the Golden State Warriors in the final of last year's NBA final. And in doing so,
a revenge mission.
It's like a revenge mission. And actually, I think the Golden State Warriors have gone back to the drawing board. They've seen, what did we do wrong the last time? Now let's bring this player in. He is able to rectify those things, those holes that the Cavaliers were able to block the other time. He's able to plug those holes back, and he's doing it for them right now. That's why they lead the NBA championship final 3-0. And one more game, they'll just take the final.
Fantastic. That's it in the world of basketball. We'll go on a short break. When we'll come back, we'll be discussing the beautiful round leather game. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's still Sports Weekly, your one-stop shop for all things sports. Now we're going into football, and let's take it from the home. You know, like they say, charity begins at home, right?
Yes.
Let's take it from the home. What's happening in the world of the NPFL, the Nigeria Professional Football League? You know, who's leading? I know that at some point it looked like MFM was topping before we started the second stanza of the league, and it looked like in the last couple of weeks they haven't been doing so well. Stephen Ode, I know, hasn't been scoring. You know, so what's happening in the NPFL?
Actually, The gone week we've had 2 match days,
Okay.
which is match day 22 and match day 23.
Sunday and Wednesday.
And Wednesday. So the MPFL has been exciting in these past 2 days. Actually, it's Plateau United that is top in the league right now.
Great.
So Plateau United are up there with 42 points. They lost at the weekend to Enyimba Football Club. They lost 1-0 to Enyimba, while MFM defeated FC Ifeanyi 1-0. And that victory actually pushed MFM back to second on the log. But what happened on Wednesday, they actually lost again. They actually lost 3-1 to Lobby Stars, and that had Antonio Potu scoring a hat-trick for Lobby Stars. Wow. He actually scored that hat-trick between the 21st minute and the 31st minute. Just a 10-minute hat-trick. So they need to really watch the waveform. And then on Wednesday again, Plateau United actually opened a 5-point gap on the second person on the league, because they went away to Sunshine Stars and defeated Sunshine Stars by 2-1. Wow. That is one of the away victories that we have in our league this last gone match day.
We're really celebrating away victories.
We need to celebrate it.
It tells us that things are working well. It didn't used to be like that.
Yes. And also, FC Ifeanyi defeated ABS at home. They defeated them 2-0. It was actually the Ivorian imports who got the goals for them. We have Yaya getting one, and also Seka Pascal getting the second goal. So all these things now may result is that Plateau United are actually top of the table right now, followed by FC Ifeanyi, while Olufemi Warriors are in third, and FC Ifeanyi have slipped down into the 4th place.
I've been hearing that it's difficult to travel to
Actually, it's been very difficult. They've not lost in like 40-something games. I can't remember the exact number. But it was fantastic for Rangers to actually go there and get a 1-1 draw with them in the last game week. So Rangers actually went there. They scored first, actually, in the 62nd or 63rd minute. And then they had to wait till the 83rd minute before the equalizer for Olufemi Warriors. So what that now means for the MPFL is that in this next coming game week, it's actually possible for Plateau United to open an 8-point lead on the second place, because they're actually going to be playing at home, because Plateau United are going to be playing Gombe at home, while the second place team, which is FC Ifeanyi, will be going away to Rivers to play Rivers United.
So it's more difficult for
FC Ifeanyi. So if Plateau gets the win at home and FC Ifeanyi loses away, it's 8 points between the first team and the second point. And I actually have to congratulate Coach Kennedy Boboye and his Plateau United team. They've done fantastic this season. They've been the best team this season. And if they win the league, I think they deserve to win it.
They must deserve to win it. There's this talking point about the VAT Wonder Goal, where every match day you kind of select one goal. There's usually a Twitter poll and a website poll, done by the MPFL, trying to identify who got the best goal, for that match day.
Yes.
And then the winner gets. I mean, I am excited for it, but I'd like to ask your opinion about it. I'm excited for it because at least it's a talking point and it's something good. We know that some of these players don't even get, paid salaries as at when due and all of that. So it's good if you can score a goal and then get paid, and the amount is about 150,000 naira, not minding the fact that you still have to give 50% of that prize money to a charity in your state,
Yes.
But is it necessary to do this VAT Wonder Goal thing?
Well, if you ask me, I don't think it's really necessary. It's not necessary. Why do we have to create an avenue for the players to start being selfish, so to speak? Because they will want to score the goal that, this week I'm winning that 70,000 naira. This 70,000 will not go, okay?
But if you score, you don't know if your goal will be the best goal of the match.
Well, they say if you don't buy the ticket, you can't win the lottery. So you have to try to score first before your goal will be selected. And we should not forget that this week, Ayo Saka from Rivers United was the one that won the VAT Wonder Goal of the week. So, congratulations.
Talking about goals, what's been happening with dear Stephen Ode since he went to Midtjylland and then came back and all of the controversies? It looks like he's lost a bit of concentration. He hasn't been in the talking points.
Since the second half of the season started, he has actually not scored a goal. He's still stuck on 14 goals. But I'll tell him he needs to watch his back, because Samuel Matthias from Kano Pillars is hot on his heels. He has 11 goals now, and before we know it, he might be able to catch up with Stephen Ode, and maybe he might not even win the highest goal scorer award anymore. But I think he still has it in him. He's young. He can do better. So MFM needs to keep doing what they are doing, keep winning games. He'll get the goals.
Fantastic. And still talking about MPFL, I think something interesting that is happening now is we've heard about the La Liga partnership with a Nigerian sports agency, Legacy Sports. You know, what's happening? What's this partnership all about?
The partnership is something that brings La Liga straight to the people, because in the press briefing, the Mr. Vicente Casado said it's part of a football development plan in Nigeria, and they has in it viewing centers that are going to be coming to Nigeria, so you can watch the La Liga. There are going to be coaches that will be living in Nigeria that are going to be teaching our coaches maybe more on the tactical side of the game. So all these things are part of the package. We should not forget that last season, the MPFL All-Stars were able to go to Spain to play a match against 2 La Liga teams. Valencia, they lost the matches. But it's a good thing seeing our team out there. It's exposure for these players, and they need that exposure very well.
Here's what they said. They said, La Liga has granted us exclusive rights to market them in Nigeria, both in the digital and offline space. We are also going to set up a world-class academy to develop young, talented players who will be trained by Spanish coaches who will reside here in Nigeria. You know, players in this academy will also be granted a scholarship to cover their education, and the cost will be borne by Legacy Sports. So I think it's beautiful for our sports, right? Yeah,
it's a fantastic idea. They stick to it. I think they have a 5-year plan in the making, so they need to keep doing what they are doing, and I think this will really help Nigerian football.
Well, talking about partnerships, you know, that's not the only partnership. I think that in this past week, it's just been good for Nigerian football. We also hear the NFF and LMC also signed a strategic pact with Morocco football authorities. So now Nigeria and Morocco are going into a relationship or a partnership where they can, there'll be mutual benefits. Well, what's happening with this partnership?
Well, basically what is happening is that there is going to be, on the, I think they signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which will allow Nigerian teams, if they need to go on training tours, it's possible to go to Morocco. If they want to play friendly matches, they might play friendly matches against teams that are in the Moroccan league. So all these are the mutual benefits that we can gain from each other. It's not just Nigerian gaining from them, it's also them gaining from Nigeria. So I think it's something in the right direction for the league management committee to do this.
Here's what he said, the strategic partnership is for technical development, exchange of ideas and contacts, training support, friendly matches, use of facilities, and joint marketing where necessary. I think this can only go well, you know, for both sides of the coin.
Yeah, like I said before, it's a step in the right direction, and it's a very fantastic idea that they're able to do this.
So why haven't we seen stuff like this happen before? Is it that the NFF is just waking up to shoulder the responsibility of actually attracting investors and partnerships into the league? Why is this happening now?
Actually, this is not the making of the NFF. This is actually the league management committee going into this thing. I think the league management committee has just started doing its work, because it's not been long that they were inaugurated for the Nigerian league. And from the time that they've been inaugurated, we've seen a lot of change in MPFL matches. Clubs are paying their players on time now. Maybe some clubs are not doing that, but a majority of the clubs are doing what they are supposed to do. The match venues are safer, though there's still a bit of hitch-up once or twice in some places. And also, we are seeing the quality of football is improving in our league. So the league management committee, led by Shehu Diko, is doing a great job in extending the reach of our Nigerian professional league. And if they keep doing what they are doing right now, I think in a couple of years from now, the Nigerian Premier League will be able to compete with some of the best leagues in the world. Because when we talk about talent, it's not that we are lacking in talent. No, we just need to be properly packaged. We need to be properly managed, and then we'll be out there. We'll be top of our game.
Congratulations to Legacy Sports, congratulations to NFF and the LMC for bringing all of these partnerships, the La Liga partnership and also the Moroccan partnership into Nigeria to help develop the sport. I think those are some good news that we're hearing. And still talking about good news, the Lagos State FA, the Eco Football, they conducted a 6-year review. Let's watch this highlight.
Football review and public presentation. It's first of its kind in Nigeria. I think we should also recognize ourselves, give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for making our time to come out. Let's also recognize Otumba Dele Ajayi. Please give a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir, for coming around. Then we'll see some level of development. Mrs. Koike, she's the proprietor of Green Spring School. She loves sports. Please let's recognize her. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming around.
To discuss what is germane to our future. Because we all want to be here forever. The positions we hold, we won't hold them forever. But there will always be posterity. There will always be history written. And it's imperative that when history judges us, it judges us properly and encourages us to ensure that the history we want written about us should be positive history.
Football Association is interwoven with that of the Nigerian Football Federation, which was formerly the Nigerian Football Association. The personnel behind the two bodies were almost the same. The Lagos State Football Association was founded in 1930 by one architect. He was a senior architect at the Department of Public Works Department, then known as PWD. The man's name is Augustus Porter, Henry Augustus Porter. He founded the Nigerian Football Association and also the Lagos State Football Association. These facts can be verified at the Department of National Archives if anybody is in doubt.
Political region. I will announce to you today Jigawa State, Osun State, Abia State, Bayelsa State, Kwara State, and Borno State. These are the first beneficiaries of the LFF Gold Project. And they are going to be commissioned in October. 6 gold projects. The minority are doing 16 sides. We want each state of the federation to have a deputy secretariat because grassroots football starts from the states. And if you don't have a deputy secretariat, you cannot carry out proper organization, proper administration, which of course will impact negatively in football development. I really want to thank everybody that's here today. I just want to, we've offended people in the course of our journey. I want to say we're sorry. I want to say that we are open to learning. We want to learn more. And I also want to say that even being president of the Young Federation, being a member of the most important committee in FIFA, the National Committee of Fan Competition, and also a CAF Executive Committee member and president of AFCON, the impact in Nigeria will be immediate. Nigeria is my first constituency. And I want to thank you all and God bless you all. Thank you.
Just give me 2 minutes. I'm not going to talk much. But just to say that in the years that are under review of the FA, we found them to be excellent. We found them to be very, very professional. We found them to be very, very sincere. We haven't, contrary to what, let's be honest, a lot of people have heard or have seen, we don't have a problem. It's natural for people to get upset. It's natural, everyone has divergent views and all that. We're all not going to agree, but the key thing is looking at the big picture and being focused on that picture. And that's what we have been able to achieve.
Bottom line is that football, anyone in this house will agree, is the king of sports. And of course, it has, and it sure commands a huge and a religious followership. The bottom line is that football drives volume. football is about numbers. And the marketing, which essentially is driven by the brand, is concerned about two key areas: equity and volume. Volume translates to numbers, that's the bottom line. Equity borders on awareness, but then all of that will dovetail into numbers.
What we have is in the beginning. We have a picture of the FA when we started, and I'd like you to stand up. Alhaji Mayor is one of the founding members of the FA, the Co-Football FA. We're very proud. He was the oldest one, and he bore our antiques, especially Wale and Majid, who were always on his case. So thank you very much.
How are you going to make football a profitable venture for club owners to be able to participate and make money? A bulk of your clients now are state governments, so they're able to subsidize football. And I think that is the challenge you face. And one of the things you said now was how you are going to stop going to government to ask for funding for football.
There's no place of comparison between even the National Association and CAF or FIFA. Let me give you one reason. CAF, FIFA, state FAs do not have 10 national teams to nurture. They are not under pressure to nurture 13 national teams. They are not under pressure to go to court with jobs every year. They don't go to court in Lagos. They don't go to court in Delta. So in spite of all we achieved in Delta, even the footballers having the longest sponsorship history, of course, no one against the Delta. There's no way I will raise up my head to say you will compare yourself with the national federation. It's not possible. So I believe because information is power.
So, Femi, what do you think? So you've seen some of the highlights of the event, fantastic event that happened, over the past week. But what's the impact of the Lagos FA really when you talk in Lagos generally? What does this FA, what would be their impact? I mean, they've enumerated a couple of things, but would you say that you would really give them a pass mark?
Well, they've tried to speak the fact. They've actually tried, because we are seeing the impact they're having on the grassroots. So I'll give them a pass mark there. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I was watching a video on YouTube the other day about the Lagos FA Cup.
Okay.
I mean, no, the Lagos Principals Cup.
Okay.
So they were actually making a documentary on the best player of the league, of the competition back then. His name was Sunday Adeoye. He plays for Dairy Farm in Agege area of Lagos. Okay. Now, during the course of the interview, they actually interviewed one of his teammates in the school that time. And guess who it is? Stephen Ode. So he played with Stephen Ode in secondary school. Wow. That shows that the grassroots football is actually doing something positive in Lagos State area. But the question I now have is, how into the grassroots is these things going? Because when we are talking about the grassroots football, the NFF cannot come from up there to come to the grassroots. They have to go to the local government and the state FAs to do something for the grassroots.
Which is what a body like the Lagos FA should
has to do. Now, I'll give you an example. When we talk about the sporting facilities that they are actually bringing up, we have the area where I live at Limosho local government. Okay. We do not have a sporting as in a standard sporting facility in the whole area. So if schools in that area want to now come out to let's play sports, they need to go all the way to the Agege Stadium. Wow. Or if they don't go there, they need to go all the way to Surulere to the Teslim Balogun stadiums. So the question is, are these facilities really at the grasp of this grassroots players? Is the facilities really there for them to use? So I think they need to do more in bringing the facilities to the people, bringing it to the grassroots so that the players there can be able to use these facilities and we'll be able to develop more players for our land. So if I was score Lagos State, I won't score them 100%, maybe 50%, because they've really tried in some parts, but they still really need to do more.
All right, so the Lagos FA, celebrated their 6th year. anniversary, and they came up with a sort of a review for themselves. And when we saw that video clip where they celebrated this whole thing, and we think that maybe you give them pass mark in the areas of organizing the Lagos FA Cup, the Principals Cup. Thank God for GT Bank right now, who is still, you know, spearheading that front. There's also the Lagos Beach Soccer and all of that. But like you've said, I think the danger points or the parts where they haven't done maybe too well will be in the area of, you know, facilities, you know, equipment for these kids to really develop, you know, getting them standard pitches, you know, and equipment and all of that. How about even things like, you know, standard of coaching, you know, in the primary schools, secondary schools? Is that something that they are looking towards, you know? And let's talk the big one now when it comes to football, and that's the UEFA Champions League. Happened just in the last couple of days. What do you think? Real Madrid versus Juventus. I think it was, I mean, for me, I was really lost in the whole of the excitement, you know, the build-up to the game itself. You know, we were all talking about the BBC versus BBC, you know, the Bonucci, Chiellini and Bazzagli versus Ronaldo, Bale and Benzema, even if Bale didn't eventually start that match and Isco kept his place and all of that. But it ended in a 4-1. Was that trashing of Juventus, a team that had only conceded 3 goals up until that point, and now they are conceding 4 goals in the space of 90 minutes.
Well, not taking away from what Real Madrid did, but I think Zinedine Zidane actually outcoached and outclassed Maximiliano Allegri in that match. Because you will look at the first half of the game. The game was actually balanced. Yeah. The game was balanced. The tactics that Allegri was using was actually a perfect fit for what Real Madrid was bringing. But in the second half,
I mean, in the first like 15 minutes, it looked like Juventus were going to take the day.
Yes, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm talking about.
They got multiple opportunities. You know, I don't know how they crumbled along the way.
Well, you see, in the second half, Zidane made certain changes to his team. Because if you look at the match, he made certain changes to the formation he was playing that made them overrun the Juventus side. Because in the first half, they were actually playing in midfield. They were playing the diamond formation with Luka Modric and Toni Kroos in the middle, with Casemiro behind them and Isco behind the 2 strikers. But that made them very narrow. They do not have the width. And Juventus now playing the 3-4-3 had that width with Dani Alves and Alexandro running the channels. But in the second half, I think Zidane just asked Luka Modric and Isco to move into the channels. Yeah. Those spaces that were left behind by Dani Alves and Alexandro, they just exploited the spaces, and that left them vulnerable at the back. And that was typical of the third goal. Look at the way nobody was chasing Luka Modric going for that ball. It was just a loose ball. And once he got to that ball, the next thing he could do was just to pull it back into the box. And who was there? Cristiano Ronaldo, to apply the finishing touch. So I think when Real Madrid came out with such tactics in the second half, Maximiliano Allegri, the coach of Juventus, was supposed to do something to counter what Zinedine Zidane did.
I think he basically ran out of ideas.
He ran out of ideas, and they had nothing to do. And you can't just take anything away from
Ronaldo. Do you remember there used to be a time when we would say that Ronaldo wasn't a big game player? Ronaldo could disappear in some matches, crucial matches for that matter. But that doesn't seem to be the order of the day any longer.
No, he scored in 2 back-to-back UEFA Champions League matches.
In fact, he's been very instrumental, you know, from the semi-final to even the...
So it's been a fantastic season for him. He's played his heart out. Even at 31, he's still doing this. He's converted more from that winger that we knew to a more inside the box finisher.
He used to be a winger, now he's a you don't even want to call him a striker. He's like a finisher.
Just
you know,
there, he knows
but do you think there's any sign of slowing down for Cristiano Ronaldo?
Well, he might be slowing down in space, but he's now using the spaces that he finds to get the goals. He's spacing now. His positioning in the box, he is now fantastic. Look at the way he got his goals. Positioning. just there at the right time to apply the finishing touches. And I think he can still go on for a couple of more years if he continues at this rate.
So congratulations to Zinedine Zidane and his men. I think Zidane won the last Champions League in 2001 as a player, and now coming back to win it back to back, you know, for the first time as a coach for Real Madrid. I think Zidane is really doing. This is not luck, would you say? It's not luck.
It's not luck. It's no fluke. He's won the La Liga. They've not won the La Liga in close to 4 years. He's won the La Liga, taking it from Barcelona, and again in the same season he's won the Champions League. It's no fluke. He must be doing something right.
So would you say the balance of powers is moving from Barcelona to Real Madrid? Would you say?
Well,
considering this, they are third, if not fourth, Champions League in the space of, I think, third Champions League in the space of 4 years.
Yes.
Would you say there's a shift?
Well, I just think Madrid is doing something that is very good, and they just need to keep doing that thing. If they keep doing it, not going the way that, okay, we want to do this differently, they might be able to dominate the La Liga for a couple of more seasons to come. So we just need to keep on watching what happens, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, moving on. What's happening with the Under-20 World Cup? It now looks just like some other sports that we've talked about. It looks like the Africans just keep getting dumped out.
Well, all the African teams are out of the championship, from Senegal to Zambia to South Africa, all of them.
Zambia put up a good fight at some point.
Well, they put up a good fight getting to the quarterfinal, but the thing that was actually very bad of them is that they were leading Italy by 3-1. Then somehow they contrived to concede the second goal. Well, it was still good. They were still good. Then Italy went a man down, and then they still conceded a third goal.
Wow.
And then in extra time, they could not make use of that one-man advantage. They still considered another goal.
Wow.
And that dumped them out of the championship. So I don't know, African teams, everyone are out.
So for the Under-20 World Cup, I mean, Nigeria didn't even make it, so
we have Nigerian representation there. There are actually a lot of Nigerian players playing for England. Close to 7 players playing for England.
That's really something I find very strange. So Nigeria did not make it, but we still have about 4 players, and they're typical Nigerian names.
Of course.
In the English contingent.
I'll tell you this: in the last match they played in the quarterfinals, they actually had 4 Nigerians starting that match. Wow. We have Fikayo Tomori. We have Fikayo Tomori starting in defense. There was Josh Onoma in midfield. Ademola Lookman was there, and also Dominic Solanke, who got the only goal for them, by the way. So Nigeria is well represented, even though we didn't qualify.
Well represented without qualifying. Okay, talking about Nigeria's representation, that's really what we have for the show today. But just before we leave, we need to mention something that is going to happen, in a couple of days. Before we come back next week, we know that by this time next week, we will be celebrating, the win of the Super Eagles, over the Bafana of South Africa. So I want us to end on that note. We know that there's the AFCON 2019 qualifiers, one of the Group E fixtures, between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Bafana of South Africa. This match kicks off at 6 o'clock on Saturday at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, June the 10th. One interesting thing that I found was that, the way the headline went and how, I think it was the team captain for Bafana, he said 25 soldiers, have arrived with, I think 12, maybe 11 or 12 officials. It really looks like it's a big deal for South Africa, this match.
Yes, South Africa has never defeated Nigeria in a competitive match.
Never.
So,
but they have defeated us once, though.
Oh, that was not in a competitive match. It was like a friendly match that they defeated Nigeria.
And the funny thing was, Stuart Baxter, their new coach right now, was
also their coach. So he might have
second spell.
He might have something riding that. Okay, he wants to do it again. But I tell you
if
this.
There's anybody that can do it. Maybe it's.
I'll tell you this. Nigeria has not lost a match under General Raw, the Nigerian team.
Which is how many matches have they played with him?
Well, they've played up to like 9 matches.
Oh.
They've not lost a match.
Wow. And
that includes top-class qualifiers against the likes of Zambia and Algeria. Nigeria defeated Zambia away from home, 2-1. And right now, Nigeria have a young crop of players that are doing well for their club. Look at the likes of Henry Onyekuru playing for UPenn in Belgium. He's scored up to 20 goals in the league this season that has just gone by. We also have this guy, Kayode Olanrewaju, banging in goals for his club in Austria. These players are playing right now for the Nigeria. Kelechi is playing there. We have Wilfred Ndidi. These players are players that will inspire, that will even inspire fear in the opponents. They just need to show up. Though they just don't need to show up and win the match. But I believe Nigeria has what it takes to win this match.
Well, talking about Nigeria having what it takes, Bafana are also on a 17-game unbeaten run, winning 9, and drawing 8. So the last time they lost was in 2015. So it looks like they are also on top form.
Well, they might be on top form, but I tell you this, Nigeria will defeat them come Saturday.
I think the issue is just Nigeria and Bafana just has this Super Eagles and Bafana just have this I don't know, there's like a tussle. I don't know, maybe it's the African giant of a thing. It looks like we call ourselves the African giants, but in economy and in how the leagues are managed, it looks like Bafana seems to be the true, African giants. But I mean, in the last 5 visits of Bafana to Nigeria, they haven't won any single of those matches. But in the last 3 matches we played together, they've been draws. So it doesn't look like Nigeria is really light years ahead of Bafana in terms of quality.
That was back then. I tell you that the team, look, Emmanuel, say this. I strongly believe in this team that Nigeria is actually putting out now. Days are gone when we'll have tired legs or old players, so to say, coming to play for Nigerians. These players are young players. They are very young. They are in the peak of their power. Look at the likes of Alex Iwobi, the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho, the likes of Wilfred Ndidi. These guys are playing regularly, maybe not very regularly, maybe in the case of maybe Kelechi Iheanacho, but Alex Iwobi and Wilfred Ndidi are playing regularly for their team. Not to talk of Kayode Olanrewaju, like I said before, and Kelechi Onyekuru. We also have John Ogu, who won the Israeli League with his team before coming to this. So this team has a lot of players in every department of the game. So they should not find it very hard to defeat the South Africans. So barring any miracle on Saturday, I believe Nigeria will defeat South Africa.
So it looks like on current form, give it to Nigeria. Even
yes.
Fantastic. All right. Just before we go, you need to know that Super Eagles of Nigeria and also Bafana of South Africa, none of them were at the last AFCON. So really, this is like a do or die affair for both countries. Both of them really need to get there. I'm talking about, this young crop of players that are right now plying their trade, abroad for Nigeria. There's been news around them. Onyekuru was billed to be at Arsenal. We're almost all celebrating that he was going to be at Arsenal, but it doesn't look like it's happening any longer.
Well, what we are seeing hearing now are just news, speculation, rumors. It's when the transfer windows open fully on the 1st of July, we will start seeing the transfers coming. But if Onyekuru is able to go to Arsenal, I think he will make a great addition to their team. When a striker scores up to 20 goals in Europe, any team he plays for, he will definitely be an addition to the team. But the thing is, do I really want him to play at Arsenal? Well, I'm not sure I really want him to go to Arsenal.
Where would you want him to
Well, I'll prefer him to go to maybe stay at this Belgian side and still develop himself. Well, at least he's going to be 20. He's not that old, so he needs to still develop himself and not rush into mainstream Europe, because some have made that mistake and have not ended well for them. So let him just stay where he is, perfect his trade, and when he steps into Europe, he'll be the finished product, and maybe even a better club than Arsenal might come calling for him.
Yeah, better club than Arsenal would be like Tottenham.
Oh, no, not Tottenham.
And also Kelechi Iheanacho. So we had heard that he's not going to be getting he's getting limited playing time, in Manchester City. So he's looking for alternatives. Borussia Dortmund, have been rumored to want him, but now we're hearing that for a certain it looks like he's going to West Ham.
It's a fantastic move for Kelechi Iheanacho.
To go to West Ham?
One thing, because he will get playing time at West Ham. That is what I'm after for Nigerian players.
But don't you think that's a demotion?
It's not really a demotion. They are both playing in the Premiership, for God's sake. And Kelechi
playing for a club like Manchester City is not the same as playing for West Ham.
It might not be the same, but once...
Do you think in another 1 year, even if he scores, say, 12 goals for West Ham, do you think Borussia Dortmund will come back for him?
They might come back for him if he proves himself over there.
That's not a certainty, though.
They might come back for him, but the good thing about it is that he won't be sitting down on the bench week in, week out. He'll get there, he'll be leading the team, and he'll be scoring. Once you are playing, the confidence will be there, and you'll be scoring goals. The thing is to get out there and get on the pitch and get playing time. It's not just about being at the big club, so to say.
Especially for young players,
yes.
Playing time really matters a lot to them. All right, thank you very much, Femi. Just moving forward and trying to wrap up this show, I think we'll just have to hope for the best for the likes of Henry Onyekuru and also Kelechi Iheanacho. Hope they make the best moves for their career and also for the Super Eagles. I think I'm going to encourage everyone, go out there on Saturday, wear your green, white, green, and really just support the Super Eagles. This is Sports Weekly, your one-stop shop for all things sports. It's been nice being on this show with Femi. I think that you really brought the icing on the cake.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Emmanuel.
very much for being a part of the show. So we see you next week when we will be celebrating the victory of the Super Eagles over the Bafana of South Africa. I'd like to say goodbye and God bless you.